The lesson for today is this: excellent communication doesn't just happen naturally, it's a product of process, skill, climate, relationship, and hard work. This is a quote from Pat McMillan, author of the book The Performance Factor. We need to think about communication in a broader picture here. Conversations are communication. Most of our conversations don't require extensive preparation because it happens as a quite natural process for us. But excellent communication we are talking about here is at a higher level than our usual conversations. Excellent communication has an objective that you are trying to fulfill through the communicative process. If you are telling someone that I'm going to have lunch at this place, that is conversation. And it has no objective other than just informing that person where you are going to have lunch at. But if you want to convince someone that it is the best place to have lunch, you have an objective. At that time, your communication should go through some additional processes that we usually don't require for conversations. The point is this: communication doesn't happen in a vacuum. You are communicating with people who have different experiences and different ideologies than yours. They have their own biases and their own ideas that will influence how they perceive your communication, whether it's about the lunch place or it's about international relations. So, in excellent communication, you are bringing your worldview in contact with your audience's worldview with an objective to influence their worldview. This is the real challenge of communication. George Bernard Shaw once said, "The biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place." And problem arises from this illusion. You communicate with others and you assume that they understood you just as you intended. But that may not be the case. Their understanding can vary from what you intended, and so we should make every effort to reduce the chance of that misunderstanding. This is why the process described by Pat McMillan is important. So I'm coming back to the point I made earlier, that communication doesn't happen in a vacuum. You need to understand that excellent communication, when you are communicating with an objective, requires planning and a process to upgrade it from mere conversation to the next level. And that process starts with research. You need to understand your audience first. You need to know their desires and their aspirations. You need to know their strengths and weaknesses. And as you progress in developing the communication, you go through the additional steps of building up your skill set and creating a climate where effective communication can take place, and building a relationship with the audience, and finally, working hard to make all these steps happen. So it's important to work through these steps to make your communication an excellent one. Some people may have a natural talent for better communication, but it's still not going to help them communicate successfully if they do not go through the process to develop excellent communication. When you see a successful lawyer or a successful politician who speaks so effectively and elegantly, don't assume that it comes only from their natural ability. They have spent a lot of time and effort in understanding their audience, analyzing and crafting their message for that audience, wording it properly to influence them, and packaging the message together for its maximum impact. So, for those who want to become excellent communicators, irrespective of their natural talent, they can adopt the process of doing good research, improving the skill set, creating the climate, and building relationship and working hard to put all these together. So how do we apply this in our life? For any presentations or speeches that you do for your class or for your school or for your workplace, plan it and research it accordingly. Analyze the message and craft the proper wording for it. Refine it to make sure that your objective can be achieved with that communication. And work hard to make it happen. This is something I remind my students all the time. Communication is effective when it stimulates meaning in another person's mind, and it's successful when it influences another person for intended actions.